Hey everybody, and welcome to Mackey's live presentation on the SRM V-Class series. I'm Vaughn, Associate Product Manager at Mackey, and we're coming to you live from the virtual NAMM Believe in Music event. We have a ton of great stuff planned for you, so thank you for joining us today. First off, stick around to the end because anyone here who is attending NAMM and is participating in the event chat will be eligible for our giveaway. We're going to be giving away 2 SRM 212 V-Class loudspeakers to one of you lucky people very shortly. In this presentation, we'll dive into the SRM V-Class loudspeakers with Director of Product Management and Product Manager of SRM V-Class, Matt Redman. We'll also be joined by a very special guest, Deanna Wheeler, who helped me channel the power of V-Class and bring live music back to Texas. We'll also hear real reactions about why SRM V-Class is the king of its category. But first, let's watch a quick video of real reactions SRM V-Class received last year at NAMM.
We're here at NAMM 2020 featuring SRM V-Class. These new models feature a SRM 210, the SRM 212, and the SRM 215.
So you just got a chance to listen to our brand new SRM V-Class. What do you think?
They were amazing. There's such full sound and such a small speaker. The subs kicked like nothing I've ever heard before.
The 12s and the 15s were especially impressive. I mean, the clarity and the mids and the highs on those, and even the lows without the sub. Once you add that sub in there, man, it can fill a huge room. You know, I was very impressed.
I'm amazed by your speakers, the flexibility. I do a lot of stuff in churches and schools and big theaters and outside, and just the adaptability is amazing.
So 10 user presets too, that's a big addition for you as well, so being able to use them in different areas. So how do you think the SRM V-Class can help you?
Well, I think, being able to use the speakers as a monitor or for sound and for flexibility, because everything I do is different inside and outside.
Everything you can do on the back of the digital screen on the back, you can actually do with our brand new app. You also have wireless streaming, and you can actually link 2 speakers together. You have full control over both speakers, as well as 3-band parametric EQ, and a ton of other settings. We thought of it all for you here at Mackey.
Pretty cool, right?
We wanted something that had the best sound, best quality. You gotta go with Mackey, it's the best out there.
Woo! I'm excited!
You have to hear it to believe it. And our guest at NAMM last year left our booth with a full, satisfied year of SRM V-Class. But who better to tell you about the SRM V-Class than the product manager himself? Let's bring up our first guest, Director of Product Management, Mr. Matt Redman. Matt, how are you today?
I don't know if this is just the pandemic talking, Ty, but I woke up sexy as hell. How about you?
I woke up sexy as well, but I think you mean V-Classy.
That's right. That's right. There's only one way to describe it. It's the best feeling that Mackey can offer, along with the best loudspeaker that we offer.
That's right. Well, thanks for joining us today. We'll go ahead and dive right into the SRM V-Class series here. All right. So just a brief little history of Mackey. So we've been over 30 years and running. 1989 is when we got our start, and that was NAMM of 1989 with the LM1602 line mixer. But over 20 years ago in 1999, that's when we got our start in transducer design and loudspeakers with the original SRM 450. The SRM 450 has the largest user base in the world with over 1.5 million units sold, and SRM is the most recognized name in loudspeaker history. There are 3 models with SRM V-Class. The SRM series we wanted to continue the SRM legacy, so we've introduced the most powerful and professional loudspeaker in Mackey history, the SRM V-Class series. So there are 3 models in this series. There's a two-way 10-inch, that's our SRM 210, a two-way 12-inch SRM 212, and a 15-inch two-way, the SRM 215. But Matt, can you tell us what makes these speakers so great?
Yeah, I mean, you sort of touched on it in the beginning, is that, SRM was sort of the first powered loudspeaker at a budget that people could buy. And it really was one of the many products Mackey came out with that changed the market and allowed sort of any band on a budget to perform without having to figure out how to marry up their amps and their passive speakers and all that complicated stuff. And so being not just the first, but one of the best known and best selling, we really set ourselves the goal of how can we outdo that and continue to build on that legacy and sort of earn that reputation again in the market, and really come out with something that offers the best performance, the most, technologically advanced, the highest level of clarity, not only that Mackie has ever produced, but that's available for under $1,000. And so that's a pretty substantial mission. And, we'll walk through some of the technical stuff behind that, but that was really the goal. We didn't want to come out with an also ran product. We wanted to come out with a market leader. And that's kind of where the V-Class moniker, comes in, it's that level above, right?
Yep, exactly. Now, to make a speaker sound that great, you do need some technology and some really smart engineering behind the speaker. Can you elaborate, Matt, on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, before we even get into all the wireless and stuff, I mean, it sort of starts with making a great speaker, right? And we've been developing this platform over the last 3 or 4 years, this amplifier platform, and V-Class benefits from the highest powered variant of it, marketed at 2,000 peak watts, universal power supply built in, power factor correction. So even if you're running on a generator, you're going to stay smooth. Throughout, you're not going to damage the speaker, so forth. And so these amps not only are highly versatile and highly durable and high powered, but they have other smarts in them, DSP, temperature monitoring and control, and so forth. So that's a little bit about the amp, high powered amplifier in the Mackie wheelhouse. There's some other components in here that are special as well. The Simex horn that you see there in the picture is a custom horn that we designed specifically for SRM V-Class, which allows you to load the high frequency driver crossover down lower, than sort of anything else in the market in a space. And so crossed over as low as possible allows you to retain the highest possible smoothness and our articulation through the entire frequency range. And that's another component. And then as far as the drivers, these are also custom components that bear the best, they're certainly the most expensive components that we've ever put in a loudspeaker. The woofer itself is also the most robust, thick paper, high X-Max rating for massive travel of the driver itself. So you get like no distortion, you get all of the sort of headroom and you would want available for your bass in particular. And then the high frequency driver is made up of this polyamide material. So it's like you think about like a silk dome tweeter in a studio monitor, put that on steroids in a loudspeaker. And it's sort of a one of a kind transducer that it's so articulate yet so robust, and it gets so loud that this loudspeaker, before we put our tuning and sauce on it, is just absolutely flat and clear. No breakup, like it's got like studio monitor grade plus minus, frequency response specs. And so before we even add any of the extra goodies to it, right, we already have sort of the best mechanical and driver component available in order to make a speaker that gets louder, goes lower, and is clearer and more articulate than anything we've ever produced. And again, anything available under $1,000.
Yeah, and I can second that. I mean, when I got to hear SRM V-Class last year at NAMM, it really sounds like a studio monitor, but it goes very loud.
Right.
And the crazy thing is you can drive it as hard as you can, and it still doesn't distort. It doesn't break up. It's really clean, even driving it at its full potential.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of our mission too, is just to have the compression and limiting that you have to protect the speakers perform in a way that's still musical, so that even when you are sort of trying to overdrive the speaker, it still sounds great at volume. Unlike some other speakers out there that you can hear them sort of complaining that they're getting too loud, right? Whether it's like pumping and breathing effects or just distortion. That's where V-Class really shines that volume, like you're saying.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like you're saying, that was the physical components within the speaker itself, but of course we got to add our little secret sauce to it. And our secret sauce is Advanced DSP. And can you tell us a little bit about Advanced DSP, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with Advanced Impulse is really a riff on finite impulse response, FIR filtering, which is becoming more increasingly common with loudspeakers in the higher price points. Some of our competitors, for example, will take a simple measurement of the speaker on axis and then try to correct for any anomalies they hear, right? Because a signal going into the loudspeaker is sort of perfect by its nature, but then you put that through a component, be it a woofer or a tweeter or a horn, and that changes the nature of the sound itself. Like I said, horn. This is probably the best example, of what it sounds like if you don't correct for the anomalies that the components themselves introduce. So we've taken that to a whole nother level, which is measuring 360 degrees around the product so that we can capture the anomalies through the entire dispersion zone and correct for those. And the result, as you see in the graph on the right, is a loudspeaker that gets that clear and that articulate through the entire zone. So you can walk from one side of the venue to the other without any comb filtering, any lobing, any of that sort of washy, sounds that you hear. So it's something we're very proud of as a technology, and it's only available in V-Class, our DRM speakers, and then the new SRTs that we introduced yesterday as well.
Yeah, those are all great points, Matt. And I see the comments rolling in. Keep those comments coming. Also, any questions you have for us, we will do a live Q&A at the end of this. So please drop your questions, your comments, and we'll address those here at the end. But we're feeling the love. I see some great comments coming in, so thanks.
Yeah, for sure. In fact, isn't that one of the ways people can win? If you participate with your commentary, then you become eligible to win, right? What's that giveaway again?
That's right. We're giving away 2 SRM 212 speakers, V-Class. So you'll be receiving a pair, and I mean,
that's
the 12 is my favorite.
$1,600 retail value. That's pretty awesome. So thank you for engaging with us and for hanging through the session. So yeah, you want to talk a little bit about the app, and then I'll share my thoughts as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So SRM V-Class actually does go wireless in 3 different ways via Bluetooth. The first being you can link your phone up to or any Bluetooth enabled device to SRM V-Class and stream music or any audio you have coming from your device. But you can also link 2 speakers together as well. And then as you can see in the image in the PowerPoint, there is our new SRM V-Class Connect app. So everything you can do with the digital user interface on the back of the speaker, you could do within our app as well. And there's actually 2 different modes that you can go into. And Matt, can you tell us about the 2 different modes?
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing that's cool just to sort of be able to do levels and EQ your speakers and in general from anywhere in the venue. But what I really like about this sort of stereo versus zone mode thing is it opens up whole other applications. I mean, stereo is pretty self-explanatory. I've got 2 speakers linked. I'm streaming my music to them in left and right. But zone mode gives you a whole new feature, which is that the Bluetooth signal collapses to mono to both speakers. And then you have independent control over everything that's going on in both of these speakers. And so if you have, say, a wedding reception area and a ceremony area, and you want to put a speaker in each of those areas having different sources, different levels, you want your music loud in one and quiet in the other, you can do that and all just from your phone. And so that's just one of those really cool sort of add-ons that, while we're in the business of designing the best performing loudspeaker that we can, why not also make it the most technologically advanced that we can? And so anyway, pretty excited about everything the app can do in addition to just the speaker's performance itself.
Yeah, and it's pretty wild that you can control every aspect of the speaker, both speakers. You can control the 2 analog inputs on the back of each speaker, plus their Bluetooth channel independently when in zone mode, as well as their 3-band parametric EQ on each channel as well. There's a bunch of other cool settings, like you can turn on and off the front LED. You can store snapshots as well. So if you have your favorite preset set for, say if you're using it for different applications, one for DJing weddings and one for bar mitzvahs, who knows, but you can store those presets right into the app and just recall them on the fly. So that's another really cool feature about SRM V-Class.
Totally.
Yeah, just to wrap up the SRM V-Class, it really is the most powerful professional speaker Mackie's ever made in history. And I'm so glad we were able to capitalize upon this speaker from the original SRM 450 back in 1999. This guy is really, it's miles beyond what we originally came out with in 99. And I'm just so happy to be able to be a part of the brand that has made such an intuitive and just advanced speaker. Matt, I got a question for you, Matt. What were your goals when designing this product?
Well, I said a little bit of it up front, but really it's like being true to that legacy of we were, you know, one of the best selling, most widely known loudspeakers going back over 20 years ago. But technology's advanced, the market's advanced and changed. And, you know, in the spirit of wanting to be that again, you really do, as a brand, have to offer the most technologically advanced, you know, best performing, highest level of clarity. And so with that goal, this is the spare no expenses sort of Manhattan project, if you will, of putting the best amplifier, the best driver, the best technology that we have in there. Like another one even is indoor outdoor voicing mode, right? So one of the phenomenons that happens when you take a speaker outside is that you lose some of the energy that builds up in a room across low frequencies and mid highs. And so we compensate for that. So the speakers sound just as good outside as they do inside. So, you know, and for those that remember the original 450 and think it sounds great, you know, I don't have anything bad to say about that speaker because, you know, our company was sort of built off of it. But if you listen to a V-Class next to an original 450 or even anything else available on the market today, you'll be blown away. I mean, it's really unfortunate for all of us that sort of COVID hit at the time that it did, because this product was launched at NAMM last year, and then the live sound market sort of, you know, took a little bit of a dive for all the obvious reasons. But as we start to look ahead into a future where we're gigging again and doing installs in venues and so forth, V-Class should absolutely be in your consideration if you're looking for an upgrade or considering another brand. It's the thing we're the proudest of, and you know, delivering on that legacy was really the mission that I was a part of, you know.
And man, did you deliver, because this thing is phenomenal. Yeah, and you know, just a quick shout out to, we did drop a new loudspeaker series yesterday. Matt and Jamie did a presentation of the new SRT speakers that we dropped. So just in case you missed it, you can find it now. It's live on our YouTube page, that entire presentation. There's some great content there. Mike Herrera from MXPX did a live performance in that presentation as well. He's currently using a pair in his rehearsal space and he loves them. But this is a nice middleman in between our V-Class speakers and Thump. It's a really nice upgrade from Thump, but it sits right in between the price points of V-Class and Thump. Matt, anything you want to add on SRT before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, just to put a finer point on that, you know, V-Class is $799, and it is the best product in our loudspeaker lineup. But for $200 less, you can get an affordable alternative. It all depends on your budget. Again, I encourage you to listen to them all in a line, as you would expect. As you go from Thump to SRT to V-Class, you get an additional level of you know, loudness, low frequency extension, and clarity, along with some additional features like that indoor outdoor voicing mode I mentioned, which is exclusive to V-Class right now, not an SRT. So just depends on your use cases, but Mackie has sort of marked the completion of refreshing everything in our loudspeaker lineup over the last 3 years, so that every loudspeaker in the Mackie lineup has cutting edge technology now, which it's been quite a while since some of these products, like the legacy SRM, were refreshed. And so to have everything completely modernized is really exciting for us and hopefully our users as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And just an example too of how they stack up each series next to each other. You know, Thumb starts off at 1300 watts, and then when you get up into SRT, 1600, and V-Class with 2000 watts. So not only do you get more technology, more features, but definitely more output as you go up in grade as well.
Yeah.
But thanks, Matt. We really appreciate you being here. And like you mentioned before, we dropped V-Class last year, this time at NAMM 2020. And then, as we all know, unfortunately, the pandemic did hit and in the US and worldwide. And live performances and live shows just weren't commonly available as they used to be. I currently reside in Austin, Texas, where it's the live music capital of the world, is what they claim. And it really is. I mean, there's so many live performances every single night. And of course, everyone still wants to go out and see shows. So we wanted to just brainstorm and think of different ways we could actually still go see live music, but stay socially distanced and do the best we can at preventing the spread. So I was fortunate enough to take V-Class down to a drive-in theater down in Buda, Texas, just south of Austin. and put on an excellent show with Deanna Wheeler and a few other performers at that show. And we had a camera crew actually come out as well, and they put together a awesome video. So I'll stop doing the talk and I'll let the video do the talking for itself. But yeah, here we go.
Connectivity is the cure to loneliness and to depression and anxiety. Live music puts you in the moment.
Because of the pandemic, gatherings of more than 10 have been banned.
There's not a lot of safe social distance things that we can do for entertainment right now. My name is Chris Denny. I'm the owner of Doc's Drive-In Movie Theater.
I mean, we're in Austin right now. It's the live music capital of the world, and people still want to go see shows.
Bands have not been able to play. They've not been able to go make some money.
So recently, Mackie just dropped the SRM V-Class loudspeakers. I'm Vaughn. I'm a product specialist at Mackie. I've been an audio engineer for over a decade now.
Mackie has actually helped us transform Doc's Drive-In Theater into a music venue in your cars. Mackie has a great line of V-Class speakers that they're using, and it's got great sound.
They also sound really great outdoors, so we brought them to Doc's Drive-In just to showcase how great they sound in a huge environment such as a drive-in theater.
Let's get some honks, yeah? Yeah!
Yeah, right, I'm gonna go enjoy some music, probably drink a beer.
Awesome.
All right.
Go, boys!
So my name is Deanna Wheeler. I'm a Texas country artist here in Austin, Texas. Mackie sponsored this amazing event.
With the SRM V-Class speakers, you get that full 2,000 watts of Class D amplification. Not only does it get super loud, it gets really clean when it's that volume too.
It's been seriously incredible. The interaction and fun and the sound was epic.
How did it sound?
Amazing, amazing. We didn't have to use a speaker or a radio. We didn't have to use our car.
Live music is a big part of this city.
Having a drive-in theater where people can still socially distance.
I haven't been to a concert since Pitbull in February.
I think mine was in 2019.
It was the best show just to have music in my heart again. So hearing this amazing sound system, bringing people back together to invoke an emotion is so heartwarming.
We have way too much fun. I swear to God, way too much fun.
That video was so fun to put together. We just seeing the joy in everyone's faces who didn't get to see live music for a good full half of 2020, and they were able to now join in this awesome experience. It really was heartwarming, and I'm glad Mackie was able to do that. But yeah, just a quick reminder, we are going to do a Q&A and a giveaway towards here at the end. To be eligible for the giveaway, all you have to do is just be on the NAM platform on SwapCard and go ahead and drop us a comment. Tell us where you're from, drop us a question. We're happy to answer your questions. So speaking of which, we do have a flood of questions rolling in, but just keep them coming. And Matt, as the product manager of the loudspeakers, and you weren't able to attend the event, I'm sure you have some questions on how it went.
Yeah, I think, well, for one, we were supposed to have Deanna Wheeler, the lead singer of that performance that you were at, join us. And unfortunately, she's having technical difficulties. So I at least want to talk through it, right? Because you were there and I wasn't. And I just kind of want to help give people the sense of how appropriate these speakers were for the venue, right? Because so V-Class was designed for sort of those much larger venues, right? Like whether it's indoor or outdoor. And how big was your setup? How big was the total space that you were covering, and how many speakers did you use, just to give folks an idea of, how much or how little they would need?
Yeah, so Doc's Drive-In is a giant property, and they have two very large movie screens. So they actually have two sides where you can actually watch two different movies. It's about, in total, I would say 100 yards by 100 yards. It's very large. Yeah. And it fits roughly, I would say, max capacity about 100, 120 cars. And of course, there's 3 or 4 people to a car. So there was a lot of coverage, a lot of reflections, right? So when you have warm bodies at a show, our bodies are the biggest absorbers of sound. We do absorb a lot. And with that type of environment, like a drive-in theater, you have those giant movie screens, you have the cars that are reflecting a lot of sound. And it could be a audio guy's nightmare, but for me, it was really seamless. It was really easy. And once I switched the speakers from indoor to outdoor mode, it really was a game changer. You could really hear all the frequencies that you would want to hear from any part of the venue.
So did you just have 2 speakers then?
So we had four SRM 215s, and then we had a couple of DRM 18S subwoofers at the bottom. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, but 4 speakers was enough to cover basically 2 football fields worth of venue, right? You didn't have delay stacked every 100 feet or something like that, right?
Exactly. And we really could have got away with 2, but where the performers were set up was right in the center of the drive-in theaters. So we had to cover 360 around.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense because it's such a wide venue and outdoor. So, but yeah, I mean, that's really the type of venue that we had in mind when we were designing these. So you mentioned also that the outdoor mode, and I think you had an anecdote about forgetting that you hadn't yet flipped the speakers into outdoor mode. You want to tell folks a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to actually link the speakers together, the 2 main PAs I had set up with the app. And I realized as soon as the first band was doing sound check about to go on, they were up on this upper deck right in the center of the drive-in theater. And I was on the ground walking around just to make sure that, it sounded clean everywhere throughout the venue. And I realized I didn't switch the speakers from indoor to outdoor mode yet. And I didn't really have time to run up there and go to each speaker and change them as the band was going on. So I simply was using my my iPad, switched the app over to the SRM Connect app, and was able to switch those in outdoor mode from, probably 200 feet away from the speakers. It was definitely a useful feature.
Yeah, get all that bass and vocal clarity back right away. And that's awesome. And it seemed like everybody was happy, right? Like I heard there's a lot of great comments about the sound in that video and so forth. So anyway, it seemed like a good event. And I don't know if there's anything else you want to tell people about it, but we can certainly drop into Q&A and make sure all the folks that are attending here get good answers to their questions. So where do you want to go next?
One final remark I can say is, after the event, of course, we did socially distanced interviews with the guests that were leaving. And the drive-in theater has it set up where out of my mixing console, they had a feed running to their transmitter, which then goes into their cars. And personally, I heard it. The transmitter is very expensive and it sounds really good. Of course, they have an expensive one. It's a drive-in theater. Everyone listens to it in their car. But everyone ended up just turning it off, rolling their windows down and just listening to the sound coming from SRM V-Class. It was something they've never heard before. And it was just so cool to just hear those testimonies from those actual audience members. And it was awesome. So
yeah, cool, man. Well, that's awesome to hear. And I'm glad you got to get out there in your community, bring Mackie to the people. We need that right now. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, definitely. And we have some awesome questions rolling in. So I think we can go ahead and shoot over to our Q&A.
Sure.
We'll go ahead and start with the first one here. This is more of a comment than a question. Great value for the money. Had a set of SRM 350s. Right on. Yep. Yeah, those are another great speaker by Mackie. Definitely V-Class is a step up from your 350s, but I personally use the 350s for years, and I love it.
Sure. In fact, if you were looking to upgrade, the SRM 210 would be the one you'd move to, because that, just like the 350, that's the 10-inch. But put them side by side. Listen to your 350 against a new V-Class, and tell me which one you like better.
Yep. I know you were feeling super sexy waking up out of bed today, but
V-Classy.
Yeah, we had a comment that those models are looking pretty sexy too. So.
Well, that's good. We try to bring maximum sexiness to all of our products. So
yeah, that's right. All right. Let's see here. So do we have a price range for each speaker? Matt, do you have that handy?
Yeah, it's starting with the 10. That's a $699 up to $799 for the 12-inch and $899 for the 15. And then the sub, I believe the sub is it $8.99 or $9.99? It's in that range.
Okay. And just so everyone knows too, there's not a sub in the lineup, but we do have our DRM series that has a subwoofer that pairs up.
That's actually what I was referring to. The SR18S, which sort of looks like it might be part of the SRT series, can be used with both. So you can either buy the DRM18S at $10.99, or you can, save a couple $100 and go with the SR18S, which is also new and versatile. So it just depends on your budget there.
Awesome. Great question from Rich here. Can you, or rather me, load custom DSP impulses without hacking?
So that's an interesting way to frame that. I guess what I would say is the way Advanced Impulse DSP works, it is sort of like we give you the baseline, we give you the starting point, we give you the best sounding, flattest, sort of no problems loudspeaker that we can provide. But then beyond that, you have additional voicing modes, and you have additional channel EQ and other tailoring that's in the product as well. So I guess that gives you the benefit that you're looking for, is that you can make tuning adjustments that you want to with the speaker. Whereas the FIR filtering that we do is really just, again, to give you that super clean starting point and baseline.
Yep, absolutely. And we have a couple comments. We had someone last year that was able to hear SRM V-Class. Nicole said, I saw these last year at NAMM and they sound great. I was there the entire time and had to listen to them, and I did not regret one moment of it. It sounded awesome.
Well, and it's one thing to hear us drinking our own Kool-Aid, but to have somebody on who was there, who we're not paying, talking about that's what I live for, right? I want to make products that make people smile, and that was certainly a goal with V-Class. So thank you for that.
Yep. And Carlos said Dream monitors at the right price, and also he loves the SRTs as well. So I'm assuming Carlos caught our presentation yesterday. And again, if you missed that, that is on our YouTube page now. You can watch that full hour-long presentation with Matt Redman.
Yeah, that made me think that every time someone says monitor, of course you think monitor as a wedge, but that whole notion of like, these are the loudest studio monitors you've ever heard is sort of true, right? And I actually know one of our guys who we partner with, who's a dealer of one of our products, uses these in his home studio as his sort of far field mixing and client monitors, right? So when maybe you actually want to do your mix on studio monitors, up to you, but these things are so flat and so clear, and you can hear things on them that you wouldn't on other speakers. And to know that somebody is in a room that's big enough that they can accommodate these loudspeakers as midfield studio monitors is pretty awesome too.
Yep, definitely. So a question from James: will two SRM V-Class speakers play in stereo with one Bluetooth music source? So we did kind of cover this earlier. There are two different modes you can put SRM V-Class speakers into when you do link two speakers together. The first one is stereo mode. So you will send the left side to the primary speaker and the right to the secondary. You also have the option to switch in between which speaker is actually the left or right side. And you could do that within the app as well. And then there's the zone mode. So zone mode does have independent control over each speaker individually, and it sends a sum stereo source from your Bluetooth stream to each speaker individually.
Yeah, and I think the way I think about the signal flow is you're connecting your phone and pairing your phone to one speaker, the primary speaker, and then when you link that speaker to the second speaker, that's how the Bluetooth signal gets to the other one. So you start out by pairing to one device, and in your Bluetooth settings, it'll show you that you're paired to one device, but in the app, you'll see, oh, I'm actually linked to a second one, and I can control all these other aspects, right?
Definitely. Yep. And one feature we didn't cover, but is part of SRM V-Class, is there a menu lockout option? There is. So there is a fail-safe on the back of the screen. You do have the option to enter a lock pin, a custom lock of your choice. That does lock out anyone from going to the back of the speaker, messing with our VPOT, and messing with any settings in the back of the speaker. So great question, Patrick.
Yeah, with so much control comes so much power and responsibility. But yes, being able to lock that out from anywhere is key.
Definitely, yeah. Especially if you're setting them up on tripods where they're accessible by any user that walks past it. It's nice having that lockout option.
Like at trade shows, for example, when we, like last year, we used that feature to prevent people from changing the settings of the speakers at a trade show floor where you don't have control over that, right? So it has proven its value to us, and I'm sure you guys can think of places where that would be beneficial to you as well.
Yep, exactly. All right, we have a question from Joel. iOS, Android support? Yes, absolutely.
Yep. Thump boosted, SRT, and V class, the apps for all three of our loudspeakers at each of those different tiers are available on iOS and Android, and even the SRM Flex and the Free Play Live that we make. So that whole ecosystem of portable PA and loudspeaker products is on both of your favorite flavors of phone and tablet.
Yeah, and the great thing about that app too, for all of our models, it's free to download on the App Store, and we have a demo mode. So if you are wanting to download the app, play in demo mode, see all the different functionalities you can do within the app before purchasing, you absolutely can.
Yep. Yeah, even the SRT app is in the store. So right now, the product that we launched yesterday. So whichever flavor you want to check out, you can go grab the app right now.
All right, so Adam asked, and this is a good one for you, Matt. So how do the DRM and the SRM V class compare? My dealer offers both for the same price.
Yep. I'll tell you our philosophy on it, and then you can make the decision that's the best for you. But DRM was really designed to be more of an install product. It is a wood box design, so you get loads more fly points, additional internal cabinet volume. There is no app for those either. So really, I think of DRM as primarily, you can certainly use it for gigging, but it was designed more with installation in mind. Whereas polypropylene boxes like the SRM V class and everything under it is more thought of as like your portable event DJ speaker. And when you look at, when you're looking at other price points and other brands, for example, too, there's only one other brand, maybe two, but one that I can think of that's also has a product at $7.99 that's polypropylene. A lot of the other products up there are wood box as well. So so having that sort of, that's the way I partition it. And if in the end you want to just make sure that you're picking the product that you're the happiest with, I would just demo them against one another and make the decision based on how you think they sound. Both product lines are marketed at 200 watts, but do you want app control or not? Do you want a wood box or a plastic box? There's just some subtle things to consider there before you move ahead with the purchase.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so next question here from Jose. How many speakers can I plug using Bluetooth? So you can wirelessly stream to two SRM V class speakers using the Connect app. Now that's between any models. So say if you are running in a zone mode and you would like to run a 212 and a 215, you need more coverage outside. So you got the 215 and the 212s indoors. You can still link those two different models together, but it is up to two. But you can always analog daisy chain out of those. So say if you are doing the example of zone mode, you can absolutely daisy chain almost an infinite amount of speakers you would need via an analog cable.
Yep. Yeah, I think another thing is just to think about the use case in that situation too. Like if you have a venue where you wanted 6 speakers, for coverage or whatever, I think the likelihood that you have a mixer probably goes up. And something like the new Onyx mixers that we launched yesterday have a Bluetooth channel, right? So you're going to connect everything by analog and then run your Bluetooth from your phone through your mixer is just another alternative way to think about a setup there.
Yep, absolutely, Matt. All right, we got a great comment from Joe. So Mackie products are awesome. Still rocking a pair of 450 first gen speakers. Awesome. And the OG 1402 VLZ. And that's another great statement, with our Mackie products, our motto, our slogan is built like a tank, right? These products last virtually forever. As Joe's saying here, he is still rocking his 450s that originally came out in 1999. So that's awesome to hear. And I haven't ever wanted to update the 450s until I heard the SRM V class at NAMM last year.
Well, that is high praise. I mean, like I said, that was our goal, was to outdo ourselves. And if we can motivate folks towards a purchase because the quality delta and the performance delta is demonstrable, then good. We don't want to make you feel bad that you used to own 450s, but rather we want to make you feel good that you've upgraded to V class, right? So thank you for your support.
Yep. Thank you, Joe. All right. Adam has a great question as well. So will Mackie switch the PowerCon power inputs and daisy chain outputs on the higher end products like SRM V class?
Unlikely with V class at this point. That is a feature that is typically reserved for higher price products, and it may be something that you see in future lines for us. But for the moment, we're going to be on traditional IEC for V class range and below.
Yep, definitely. And just in case you're just tuning in, we are doing a giveaway at the end of this presentation, which is coming up here shortly. We're giving away two 12 SRM V-Class loudspeakers to a lucky winner. So to be eligible to enter for the giveaway, simply just through NAM's platform with Swap Card, go ahead and drop us a comment, drop us a question, tell us where you're from. We know this is a worldwide event, so just drop us a comment and that enters you.
Yeah, so quickly back to that that PowerCon question, it just made me think, just if you're looking around the Mackie lineup for stuff like that, we do make a line array, the DRM 12A, which is PowerCon fed and does daisy chain up. And so for those that have larger gigs or warrant the sort of additional coverage that a flown line array can give you, we do have that product in our lineup as well. So, and then a line array is just a different beast than an SRM. And when you get enough of them together, you get sort of a level of coverage and sound pressure that is worth that jump and spend, right?
Yep, absolutely. And Chris has a great question about the event at Doc's Drive-In. So was there any latency between the front of house and the radio transmission? So as I mentioned before, Doc's has two giant movie theater screens and they all transmit to the car. So they actually invested in a very high-end transmitter. Definitely nothing low budget, definitely above 2.4 gigahertz. And we just did an analog run from the mixer to the transmitters to their cars. So there really wasn't any delay. Definitely not as much delay you would get as if you were like way in the back of the venue, hearing the delayed sound from the speakers. So,
right.
Yeah, great question, Chris.
And just to make sure we cover, I know we talked about it before, but I saw one in the thread about which sub would I pair with it. And again, in the case of the Doc's Drive-In event, Ty used our DRM subwoofers. We didn't, at the time we developed SRM V-Class, we didn't develop a new purpose-built subwoofer because we kind of knew that we already had that with the DRM subwoofer. But when we launched SRT yesterday, that also introduced the brand new SR18S, which is meant to go with either the SRT or the SRM V-Class speakers. So just take a look out for that if you're on our website wondering which sub or which, at which budget you're looking for. So,
yeah, it was we have some great comments coming in too here on other platforms. Here's a great question too. So warranty info, Matt, do we have warranty info on the V-Class?
Yeah, that's actually a great thing that we hadn't touched on. So if you buy, let's start with Thump. If you just get into our entry level loudspeaker, whether it's Thump or Thump boosted, that's a 1-year warranty. When if you decide to upgrade or buy at the SRT price point at about $200 up above what a Thump boosted would cost, not only do you get the extra loudness, clarity, etc., you also get a 3-year electronics and 2-year driver warranty. When you jump all the way up to V-Class, not only do you get that extra loudness, another level of low frequency extension, clarity, you now have a 6-year warranty. So when I talked about at the beginning that we were serious about this thing becoming a real player in the market and giving everybody else a run for their money, warranty is another part of that, right? And you want to feel safe when you make a purchase of a product like this. So that's something that we're proud of, and it just lets our customers know that we stand behind what we say when we talk about the performance, the the protection, the durability, reliability built into this product. We stand by that.
Yeah, absolutely. And another great question we got here from DJ Stefan, is there a time delay? And yes, there is. That's another feature we didn't brush upon, but built into the speaker itself is time delay. So no more, pulling open a digital mixer and doing it from there, or say, bust out your nifty calculator and have to calculate, how far the speaker is away and, calculate what in milliseconds you have to delay it by. You can actually do it by feet in the back of the SRM V-Class. So on the digital user interface on the back, you simply just use our scroll knob and scroll how many feet away the speaker is from the source that you are trying to receive the signal from. And it does all the math for you right in the back of the speaker.
Yeah. And you can see it on the screen in both feet and milliseconds, and you can do it from the app too. So whichever is more convenient for you, that's been thought about as well.
Yep. We have another Mackie user, John. So he began using Mackie products back in 2002, the famous 32.8 mixer, which was one of my first mixing consoles I mixed on, with the meter bridge. Nice to see the innovative streak is still there. Hope the user manual for the new speakers be as witty as ever.
Well, as usual, we put at least one major Easter egg in every single manual, so have fun finding it in the V-Class manual.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Well, we love the comments you have rolling in. And again, to enter into the giveaway, simply just drop us a comment or a question. We'll actually be choosing a winner here very shortly. We'll just take a few more questions here, and then we'll get to the winner. And again, you win a 2 SRM 212 V-Class speakers to one lucky winner. All right.
Yes, which, mind you, are my favorite, right? The 15s are great because they have an obscene amount of bass, but they're also 47 pounds, and the 212s are 40 pounds, which just makes them like super, super portable and, easy to put up, easy for one person, one old guy to put up on a tripod.
Yeah, absolutely.
In my case.
Yeah. This one for you, Matt. So Matt sounds sad that he couldn't be at the event. It looks like you are there, Matt.
I actually am, and you can see there's a couple anti-maskers behind me, but the weather's great. Come on down. I know. I really wish, like so many of you, that we could be traveling and we could be seeing each other in person and demoing these speakers for you guys, and hopefully we'll be there next year. But I wanted to bring some of the spirit of NAMM for those who have been there to our live stream.
Yep. Okay, we'll take just a couple more here before we pick our winner. We have one from any plans to have Dante enabled on mid-lower end products?
All I will say to that at this time is watch this space. We don't have Dante enabled speakers yet, and they're not in V-Class yet, but just keep an eye on us.
Yep. Awesome. So I think we're ready to pick our winner. Matt, can you give me a drum roll, please?
Sure.
It looks like
you're the
winner. Teresa. Teresa is our winner.
Yay!
Good job, Teresa.
Congratulations.
You are a
happy.
winner of 2 SRM 212 V-Class speakers. I own a pair myself. Like Matt was saying, those are our favorite out of the 3. That's why we picked that one to give away. And they really are an amazing speaker. So congrats, Teresa.
Yeah.
And thanks for everyone else.
$1,600 retail value, but you're not going to want to sell them once you put your ears on them. You'll find a good place to put them.
Absolutely. Yeah, and thanks for everyone that's joined us today. We're really excited to bring these SRM V-Class speakers and just capitalize upon the original SRM 450 that's just has the largest user base. And now we're out here with the most professional, powerful speaker that Mackie's ever came out with. Matt, any closing remarks you'd like to mention before we close out here?
No, just I encourage anyone who's even thinking about these speakers to please put them head to head with anything else you're thinking about buying. It's one thing for me to tell you they sound better, but if you do yourself the service of listening to other speakers at this price point, we're pretty confident that V-Class is going to be in consideration with all all the dollars we've thrown into the transducers themselves, the technology. So just thank you so much for thinking about Mackie, for attending this event, and for considering V-Class as your next loudspeaker choice.
I 100% agree. And if you did miss our presentations from yesterday, feel free to check them out on our YouTube page. If there's anything you missed in this presentation, we'll have this video up on YouTube shortly as well. That's at Mackie TV. We're also doing presentations and more giveaways for the rest of this week. So make sure to stick around. We have 4 more presentations coming up this week, and all of them have a giveaway. So make sure to stick around for all of those. And again, thanks for tuning in today. I'm Vaughn, Associate Product Manager here at Mackie, alongside with Matt Redman, Director of Product Management. And again, thank you so much for attending today.